The crack of the slap echoed through the five-star restaurant like a gunshot. 200 conversations died instantly. A woman dripping in diamonds stumbled backward, her hand flying to her cheek, eyes wide with shock. The waitress who struck her stood frozen, chest heaving, years of buried pain finally exploding to the surface. In that moment, with phones already recording from every angle, everyone knew they were witnessing something that would change everything. This wasn't just about a slap. This was about every person who'd ever been made to feel small finally saying enough. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back 28 hours. The alarm went off before dawn. That same piercing buzz that Maya Santos had learned to hate. She opened her eyes to darkness, her tiny bedroom still wrapped in the pre-morning gloom. Through the thin walls came the sound that had become her dreaded routine. Her mother's cough, wet and rattling. The kind that makes your chest hurt just hearing it. Maya was out of bed instantly. She glanced at the clock. 4:40 a.m. Her shift at the Celestial Grand started at 6:30. Just enough time to make her mother's tea, help with medication, and make sure her little brother Isaiah had lunch money for school. Life was a tightrope walk between exhaustion and survival. Between juggling 3 jobs, hospital bills, and Isaiah's tuition, Maya's world had become an endless cycle of just getting through the day. Every bill that showed up felt like another brick added to the weight on her shoulders. But she couldn't stop. Not now. Not ever. She pulled her dark hair into a tight bun, slipped into her black waitress uniform, freshly pressed but fraying at the edges, and checked her reflection. She looked older than 24. Much older. She touched the small gold cross at her throat, her father's last gift before the accident, and whispered to herself, "You're stronger than this. Just get through today." The early bus was filled with ghosts. Cleaning ladies with swollen feet, security guards with exhausted eyes, all of them heading toward buildings they'd never afford to enter as guests. Maya pressed her forehead against the cold window and watched the city transform as they traveled from her neighborhood to the financial district, from broken sidewalks to gleaming towers, from dollar stores to boutiques where a single purse cost more than her rent. The Celestial Grand rose 37 floors into the sky, all polished brass and imported marble, its revolving doors whispering promises of luxury. Inside, chandeliers hung like frozen waterfalls of crystal, and floors so perfectly polished Maya could see her reflection walking beneath her. Guests moved through the lobby speaking in hushed, elegant tones, their watches glinting like small fortunes on their wrists. Maya tied her apron and took her position near the host's stand. The smell of fresh coffee and warm croissants filled the air, rich and somehow suffocating. Every Friday was the same. Long hours, forced smiles, and constant fear of making mistakes. The restaurant manager, Mr. Whitmore, appeared beside her, his expensive cologne arriving before he did. His voice was low and urgent. "She's coming today. Be careful." He didn't need to say who. Everyone at the Celestial Grand knew. Margot Dewinter. The name was spoken like a curse, whispered like a warning. Maya had been working here for almost a year and had managed to avoid serving her directly, watching from safe distances as other servers came away looking shell-shocked and broken. But today was different. Today, Maya was assigned to the VIP section. Today, there would be no escaping. Margot Dewinter arrived at exactly 11:45, as she always did. She didn't use the main entrance. She came through a private door, as if sharing space with regular guests was beneath her. Maya watched her approach from across the dining room, and it was like watching a storm roll in, beautiful and terrifying all at once. She wore a champagne-colored suit that probably cost more than Maya earned in 6 months. Her jewelry caught the light in ways that made you forget to breathe. Diamonds at her ears, at her throat, around her wrist like shackles made of starlight. Her silver blonde hair was pulled into a flawless twist, and her face, once beautiful, had been hardened by bitterness into something dangerous. Behind her walked an assistant clutching shopping bags, and 2 perfectly dressed friends, their smiles cold and practiced. Mr. Whitmore practically ran to greet her, his smile painfully wide. "Mrs. Dewinter, what an honor. Your table is ready, of course." Margot barely acknowledged him, just gave the slightest nod and sat down. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Her eyes swept across the dining area like searchlights, judging everything, finding everything lacking. When her gaze landed on Maya, it stopped. Just for a moment. Just long enough for Maya to feel the weight of that attention like a hand around her throat. Maya approached the table with her professional smile in place. "Good morning, Mrs. Dewinter. May I start you with something to drink?" Margot's eyes traveled slowly from Maya's shoes to her face. A cold appraisal that felt invasive. "You're new to my section. What happened to the other girl?" Maya knew what happened. Everyone knew. The previous server had quit after Margot made her cry over a napkin, walked out mid-shift and never returned. But Maya wasn't about to say that. "She moved to a different position, ma'am." Margot's lips curved into a smile that had nothing to do with happiness. "How diplomatic. I'm sure they warned you about me." It was a trap. Maya recognized it immediately. So she simply kept her smile and said, "How would you like your coffee this morning?" For a brief moment, something flickered in Margot's expression. Then it vanished. "Black coffee. Hot enough to burn. And don't make me wait." The morning stretched endlessly. Maya moved through her section with practiced grace, taking orders, delivering food, refilling glasses. She was good at this, had learned to read people and anticipate their needs. But serving Margot's table was like walking through a minefield blindfolded. The first explosion came at noon. Maya delivered appetizers, perfectly arranged scallops with microgreens and edible flowers. She placed Margot's plate carefully, making sure it faced the right direction. Margot stared at it, then at Maya, then back at the plate. "Is this some kind of joke?" Her voice cut across the dining room like a blade. Nearby conversations faltered. Maya's heart started pounding. "Ma'am, this scallop is touching the sauce. I specifically said sauce on the side." Maya's mind raced. She'd taken the order herself, written it down exactly. Sauce on the side had never been mentioned. But she knew that truth didn't matter here. What mattered was that Margot had decided there was an error, and someone had to pay for it. "I sincerely apologize, ma'am. I'll have the kitchen remake this right away." "Oh, you'll remake it," Margot said, her voice dripping with contempt. "But that doesn't fix the incompetence, does it? I have to sit here hungry, waiting, because you can't handle a simple task." One of her friends, a woman with surgically enhanced lips, laughed into her champagne. The sound made Maya's skin crawl. "Tell me," Margot continued, leaning back, "do you always struggle with basic instructions? Or is today special?" The dining room had gone quiet. Maya could feel dozens of eyes on her, staff and guests alike, watching this public humiliation. Her face burned. Her hands holding the plate trembled slightly. She wanted to defend herself, but the words stuck in her throat. She'd been trained too well. The customer is always right, even when they're destroying you. "I'll correct this immediately," Maya managed, her voice somehow steady. In the kitchen, she set the plate down harder than intended. The head chef, a kind man named Marcus, looked at her with sympathy that somehow made everything worse. "Dewinter?" he asked. Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. "She's a nightmare. Everyone knows it. Don't let her break you." But Maya was already breaking. She could feel it. The way Margot's words had found the soft places inside her and pressed hard. Incompetent. Useless. Words that echoed her own midnight fears. When bills went unpaid and medicine ran out and Isaiah needed things she couldn't provide. She delivered the new plate. Margot examined it like a jeweler studying a suspicious diamond, turning it, studying it from every angle. Finally, she took one small bite, then set down her fork and reached for her phone, dismissing the food entirely. The power wasn't in whether the food was good. The power was in making Maya dance like a puppet. The afternoon crawled by in slow torture. Each trip to Margot's table brought new humiliations. The water was too cold. The bread wasn't refilled fast enough. Maya's posture was too casual. Her smile wasn't genuine enough. It was psychological warfare, each criticism small enough to seem reasonable alone, but together forming a pattern of deliberate cruelty. And Margot was an expert. She never shouted, never cursed. Her cruelty was refined, elegant, practiced by someone who'd learned that money gave her permission to wound without consequence. Maya felt herself shrinking with each passing hour, becoming smaller and quieter, disappearing into the professional mask she wore. This was survival. You took it. You smiled. You survived. But something else was building beneath that surface. Something hot and dangerous that Maya usually kept locked away because she couldn't afford to let it out. Anger. Not the quick flash that burns and fades, but the deep kind. The kind compressed under years of pressure, of swallowing words, of biting her tongue bloody, of watching people like Margot treat people like her as less than human. At 3:30, Maya got her break. She locked herself in the staff bathroom and allowed herself one moment of weakness. One quiet sob. When she emerged, she splashed cold water on her face and stared at her reflection. Red eyes. Small stain on her uniform. She looked as tired as she felt. Her phone buzzed. A text from Isaiah. Mom's cough is really bad. Should I call the doctor? Maya closed her eyes. The doctor cost money they didn't have. Everything cost money they didn't have. She texted back, I'll handle it when I get home. Make sure she drinks water. When she returned to the floor, a new server had been assigned to Margot's section. A girl named Rachel, barely 19, with bright, hopeful eyes. Maya wanted to warn her, to explain what she was walking into. But what would she say? That some people are cruel and you just have to take it? That wasn't advice. That was surrender. She watched from across the room as Margot made Rachel remake her coffee 3 times. As she sent back dessert because the chocolate wasn't distributed perfectly. As she made the girl crawl under the table to retrieve a dropped napkin while she sat watching with amusement. Each humiliation landed on Maya like a personal blow. She saw herself in Rachel. Saw Isaiah working his first job someday. Meeting someone like Margot. Saw her mother, who'd spent 30 years as a housekeeper cleaning up after people who never learned her name. The anger wasn't building anymore. It had fully arrived. The next morning came too soon. Maya dressed in the dark, moved through her routine like a ghost, and arrived at work with a feeling in her chest like a fist slowly clenching. Mr. Whitmore pulled her aside. Mrs. Dewinter specifically requested you today. The way he said it made clear this wasn't good news. Just provide excellent service, he added, which meant, just take whatever she gives you. Margot arrived at 11:45 in a blood-red suit, alone this time, which was somehow worse. Her full attention would be undivided. She settled into her chair and smiled at Maya. A smile like a knife hidden in silk. There you are. I've been thinking about you. The words sent ice down Maya's spine. How may I help you today, Mrs. Dewinter? I'll have my usual. And Maya dear. The false sweetness made Maya's stomach turn. Try to get it right this time. I'd hate to be disappointed again. The morning was yesterday's torture refined and perfected. Every interaction designed to diminish, to remind Maya of her place. And the worst part was the audience. Other guests watching now, some uncomfortable, others entertained, but none intervening. Staff kept their heads down, grateful it wasn't them. Maya moved through it mechanically, dying a little with each small cruelty. Then came the moment everything had been building toward. Maya was refilling Margot's water glass when it happened. Margot shifted in her chair, a subtle movement, but Maya caught it. She'd moved her arm deliberately into the water pitcher's path. Water spilled across the table, splashing onto Margot's expensive suit. She gasped, loud and theatrical, standing so fast her chair scraped backward. You clumsy fool. Look what you've done. This suit costs more than you make in 6 months, you incompetent little. Maya stood frozen, pitcher still in hand, watching in strange detachment. She'd seen Margot move her arm. She knew this was deliberate, but it didn't matter what was true. It mattered what people saw. Mr. Whitmore came running, his face pale. Other servers scattered. And Margot, still making her scene, reached out and grabbed Maya's wrist. Her grip was iron, nails digging into skin. She pulled Maya close enough that her next words were almost private. This is what you people do. Margot hissed, voice low and venomous. You fail. You take up space in a world that doesn't need you. You know the saddest part? You'll go home tonight to whatever hole you crawl out of, and you'll cry, and tomorrow you'll come back and take it all over again. Because you have no choice. Because people like you never do. Something inside Maya that had been bending finally snapped. The slap came fast and sharp, echoing through the restaurant like thunder. Margot's head whipped sideways, her perfect hair coming loose, her hand flying to her reddening cheek. The entire restaurant went dead silent. Not just quiet, but silent. The kind of silence that follows something irreversible. Maya's hand was still raised, still trembling, her palm stinging. She stared at what she'd done, at Margot's stunned expression, at her own hand as if it belonged to someone else. How dare you? Margot breathed, voice strangled. How dare you touch me? But Maya was done. Done being quiet. Done being small. Done protecting people who'd never once protected her. No, she said, and her voice was clear and strong. How dare you? The words hung in the air. Margot blinked, unable to process being spoken to this way. What did you say? How dare you? Maya repeated louder. How dare you treat people like this? Like we're not human. Like we don't have families and bills and dreams. Like we're just here for your entertainment. I will have you arrested, Margot said, but uncertainty cracked her voice. I will have you fired and arrested and... Do it, Maya said, meaning it. Call the police. But everyone in this room watched you torture me for 2 days. Everyone saw you spill that water on purpose. Everyone knows exactly what you are. You're insane, Margot said, looking around for support. But the faces staring back weren't sympathetic. They were uncomfortable, accusatory. Some were recording on phones. Someone call the police. They did. 2 officers arrived within minutes. Margot rushed to them like they were saviors, clutching her cheek. This woman assaulted me. I want her arrested immediately. I'm Margot Duinter, and I will not. Ma'am, we'll need statements from everyone, the older officer said calmly. That's when a man in a business suit stepped forward, phone in hand. Officers, you should see this first. He played the video, the entire exchange from water spill to slap, with audio catching every cruel word Margot had spoken. When it finished, Margot's face had gone from flushed to pale. The officer looked at her, then at Maya. Ma'am, this shows you deliberately provoking the situation. Your words could be considered workplace harassment. That's ridiculous, Margot sputtered. She's a server. I'm a customer. She assaulted me. Actually, an older woman spoke up. I've been watching you bully these young people. What you've been doing is abuse. That girl defended herself. More voices joined in. What had been silence became a chorus. Person after person spoke up, sharing what they'd witnessed. Some admitting they'd seen Margot behave this way before and said nothing. The tide had turned. The officers took statements, reviewed videos from multiple phones, spoke with staff who, emboldened by Maya's stand, finally told the truth. In the end, no charges were filed against Maya. The officers suggested strongly that Margot consider whether pursuing this was wise, given the evidence. Margot left the Celestial Grand without another word, her expensive heels clicking in retreat for the first time anyone could remember. Maya was asked to leave too, escorted out by Mr. Whitmore, who couldn't meet her eyes. I'm sorry, but we can't have employees who... I know, Maya said. She didn't need the explanation. She'd broken the unspoken rule. But as she walked through those revolving doors into afternoon sunlight, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. Light, free. Like she'd been carrying a weight so long she'd forgotten it was there. And only now, without it, could she remember how to stand up straight. The video went viral within hours. By evening, millions of views. By morning, it was on the news. Waitress stands up to abusive customer. Debates raged. Was Maya right to slap her? Should she have walked away? But beneath those questions, a deeper conversation emerged. About how service workers are treated. About who gets to have dignity and who's expected to surrender it for a paycheck. about what happens when people finally say enough. Maya's phone exploded with messages. Job offers, interview requests, people wanting to help, to donate, to call her a hero. She ignored most of it. She wasn't a hero. She was just tired of being small. She found another job within a week, at a small family restaurant where the owner, an immigrant woman, looked Maya in the eye and said, "I saw what you did. I saw you stand up. You'll always have respect here." The pay was less. The restaurant wasn't fancy. But when Maya came home after her first shift, feet hurting and apron stained, her soul felt clean. Isaiah met her at the door with news that their mother's tests came back better than expected. Not cured, but stable. They ate dinner together that night, leftover rice and beans stretched to feed 3. And it was enough. Margot Duinter's fall was swift and brutal. The video followed her everywhere. Businesses that had courted her suddenly had other priorities. Charities quietly removed her from boards. Her friends scattered like roaches when light hit them. She retreated to her penthouse apartment, 30 floors above the city, surrounded by things that cost fortunes, feeling more alone than ever. Her daughter Catherine, who hadn't spoken to her in 3 years, sent one text after seeing the video. "Now the whole world sees what I've known for years. Call me when you're ready to be human again." Margot stared at that message for hours, saw herself reflected in floor-to-ceiling windows, a woman in expensive clothes standing in an expensive apartment, alone. The silence was deafening. For years she'd filled it with power, with the sound of her voice cutting others down. But now the silence was just silence, empty and echoing. Her oldest friend Diane was the only one who still visited. She sat across from Margot one evening and said what needed saying. "You've been punishing the world for what Richard did to you." Margot's ex-husband. The betrayal 8 years ago that turned her heart to stone, that taught her vulnerability was weakness, that the only way to never be hurt again was to hurt first. "That girl didn't deserve what you did," Diane continued. "None of them did. You became the thing that hurt you." Margot wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come, because it was true. She'd taken her pain and sharpened it into a weapon, spent years using it against people who couldn't fight back. She'd called it strength. But sitting in her empty apartment, with her daughter not speaking to her and the world knowing her shame, she could no longer pretend. She opened her laptop that night and found Maya easily enough. Stared at the message box for an hour, typing and deleting. What could she possibly say? Sorry? That word felt too small. But maybe it was a start. So she wrote, "Maya, I owe you an apology words can't convey. What I did was cruel and indefensible. I've spent years using my money to hurt people, telling myself it made me strong. But you showed me what real strength looks like. I'm seeking help, trying to understand how I became this person. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know you changed something in me. That moment of courage you showed broke something open. Thank you for that. And I'm truly, deeply sorry." She hit send before she could overthink it, then closed the laptop and cried for the first time in 8 years. Great heaving sobs, mourning not what she'd lost but what she'd become. Maya saw the message 3 days later on break at her new job. She read Margot's words twice, then set down her phone and stared out the window at the city moving past. All those people carrying their own weights, fighting their own battles. She thought about responding, but in the end, she didn't need to. The apology wasn't really for her. It was for Margot. Maya had already found what she needed that day when her hand connected with Margot's face. She'd found her voice, her boundary, her line in the sand. She deleted the message and got back to work. Not with anger, but with peace. Some people spend their lives looking for the perfect apology. Maya realized she didn't need it. She'd closed that door herself. And on the other side, she was free. Months passed. Maya got a raise. Her mother's health stabilized. Isaiah got accepted into a scholarship program. Small victories, but they were hers. Real. Earned. The video still circulated, sometimes with captions like, "Never forget to respect service workers," or, "The slap heard round the world." Maya didn't watch it anymore. She didn't need to. She'd lived it. survived it, come out the other side with something Margot's money could never buy, dignity that came from within and couldn't be taken away. One evening walking home, the sun setting behind the city in shades of gold and orange, her phone buzzed. A message from Rachel, the young server from the Celestial. Just wanted to thank you again. I quit that job. Found something better. You showed me I didn't have to take that treatment. You changed my life. Maya smiled and typed back, "You changed your own life. I just reminded you that you could." And it was true. The slap hadn't been about revenge or violence. It was a reminder that they were human beings deserving respect, that dignity wasn't for sale no matter how much money someone waved, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to be made small. She pocketed her phone and kept walking, her shadow long in the fading light. Somewhere across the city, Margot sat in therapy for the first time, trying to excavate pain she'd buried under cruelty. Somewhere else, Rachel laughed at her new job, treated with kindness. And Maya, walking home to her family in their small apartment where love was more abundant than money, felt something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. The world hadn't changed overnight. There were still people like Margot out there, still those who thought money gave permission to be cruel. Still service workers swallowing indignities for paychecks that never quite covered bills. But something had shifted. A line had been drawn. A stand had been taken. And other people watching from their own private struggles had seen it and remembered. You don't have to accept cruelty. You don't have to smile through your own destruction. You have a voice. You have power. You have worth. And sometimes, when the moment demands it, you have a choice. If the story moved something inside you, whether anger at injustice or hope for change, take a moment to sit with that feeling. Have you ever met someone who tried to make you feel worthless simply because they could? Have you been the person standing nearby, watching it happen, wondering if you should speak up? We've all been there in one role or another. These moments define us, not by whether we're villain or victim, but by what we do when we witness cruelty, by whether we stay silent or speak up, by whether we accept this is just how the world works, or dare to imagine it could be different. Maya's story isn't about violence. It's about the breaking point we all carry inside, that moment when staying silent becomes more painful than speaking up, when accepting cruelty costs more than resisting it. Her strength lives in all of us, waiting for its moment. Share this story with someone who needs to remember their own power. Drop a comment below and tell us, what moment hit you hardest? Did this change how you think about the people who serve you every day, who smile through bad moods and absorb worst moments? If it did, don't just scroll past. Let this ripple outward. Let others feel it too. And if you believe stories that speak truth deserve to be amplified, like this video, share it everywhere, and subscribe for more stories that refuse to look away from hard truths we all need to hear. Because the world changes one story at a time, one stand at a time, one person at a time, remembering that dignity is not negotiable.